I want people of the world to come to South Africa.
South Africa is standing at a dangerous crossroads, a nation of extraordinary potential, yet burdened by despair. Across townships like Tembisa and Soweto, streets have been burning as residents demand what should be basic rights: electricity, water, safety, dignity. These protests are not sudden, they are the echoes of years of frustration. When people block roads, when communities rise in anger, they're not simply rejecting government, they're crying out to survive. Human rights activist Mary de Haas describes South Africa as a country locked in a cycle of violence and division. Economist Dawie Rood adds that the economy is choking under low investment, crumbling confidence, and dangerously slow growth. And both are right. In early 2025, the economy barely moved. GDP growth sat at just 0.1% after months of stagnation. Factories are quiet, small businesses are shuttering, investors hesitate, fearing instability more than opportunity. Over 600 companies have already collapsed this year alone. This is the reality many South Africans live with: soaring unemployment hovering above 32%, inflation that chews through every rand in the wallet, and a widening gap between rich and poor. Former President Thabo Mbeki even warned that if left unchecked, these pressures could trigger South Africa's own Arab Spring, a wave of unrest born of hunger and hopelessness. And the storm is not only at home. Beyond its borders, South Africa faces punishing economic headwinds. A 30% tariff on citrus exports to the United States now threatens to wipe out 35,000 rural jobs. Global trade shifts and rising protectionism shake industries that rely on export markets. Investors are still willing to lend billions to South Africa, but their patience is fragile. Every violent protest, every sign of government paralysis chips away at the trust the country desperately needs. Yet, there is hope. The World Bank has granted a $1.5 billion loan aimed at rebuilding roads, ports, rail lines, the arteries of the economy. If managed well, this money could light the spark of renewal: new jobs, faster transport, and fresh confidence. Reforms like Operation Vulindlela are designed to dismantle long-standing bottlenecks in energy, water, and logistics. The government's 2025 budget, finally passed after weeks of coalition squabbling, has also protected key social grants and health funding while seeking to stabilize the country's finances. But money alone will not solve South Africa's crisis. What's missing is speed, discipline, and courage. Economists warn that if investment does not flow into productive industries, mining, manufacturing, infrastructure, the country will keep limping and inequality will deepen. De Haas cautions against over-reliance on social grants, urging that South Africans be trained and skilled to build their own future. Without this, even billions in aid become little more than a bandage on a deep wound. And behind every statistic lies a human face. A young graduate sending out hundreds of CVs but hearing nothing back. A mother who fears nightfall because her neighborhood is swallowed by darkness and crime when the power cuts. Children who grow up believing that violence is normal because it is all they see. These stories remind us that this is not just about economics or politics, it is about the soul of a nation. So is South Africa on the brink of collapse? The warning signs are all here: a stalled economy, violent protests, staggering inequality, and political uncertainty. But collapse is not destiny. It is a choice, or rather, a test. If leaders summon the will to implement reforms, if communities unite rather than fracture, if investors and government work together to turn loans into lasting growth, South Africa can still rise. The next months will reveal everything. Will this country fall deeper into crisis, or will it transform this pain into purpose? The world is watching. And history is waiting to see whether South Africa's story becomes a tragedy or a testament to resilience.